Hey guys, Mad Theories here. Now, I know we did a little video on what would have happened if Sasuke would have killed Naruto after the war. Now we're gonna do part two. So now it's gonna be what would happen if Naruto killed Sasuke after the war. Now, to be honest with you, everybody would be devastated off of the whole situation because it's like you know how it was going down from Ashura to Indra, Madara, and Hashirama, and then Naruto, and but you know what the interesting part about the whole thing was, like Hagoromo and Harama, like they never had like a brotherly feud. It kind of skipped them. That's the interesting part about that was it's like it kind of skipped them. They didn't even have like some sort of like war, but I guess it was their I don't know bad genes, probably like bad genes or whatever. But yeah, what happened if Naruto would have killed Sasuke? But it's like I see it in this way. It's like how when Naruto basically told Sasuke, he was like, "Oh yeah, like if I can't save you, like we're gonna go out together and whatnot." And that's when Sasuke was like, "Why would you go this far for me?" He was like, "Because we bros." And that's what Sasuke was like, "I when I get strong, I'm gonna kill you first. I'm gonna kill you first, just because I'm gonna kill you first." But if Naruto would have killed Sasuke and Sasuke would have told him everything before his death, he would have been like, "Oh, you was my best friend and this and that. You went as far as to saving me. You stopped me for good." And then Naruto would have been crying like, "This is not what I wanted. I didn't want this to happen." Like I personally felt like he wouldn't have never said what Hashirama said to Madara and been like, "Well, I'm gonna do this even for the leaf," because it was like no, because at that point Hashirama, like sure Hashirama and Madara, they was like best friends and whatnot, but it was just that Hashirama said that because he built something great. He built something great within the Leaf Village, and it was like you got Madara who basically wanted to tear it down due to the fact that he had other plans with becoming God and whatnot. But Naruto would have killed Sasuke. He would have killed Sasuke and whatnot. He would have felt sad. Basically, he would have been all messed up. He would have been all messed up. Like it would have caused him. Like he still would have been Hokage, but he would have been under a lot of depression. Like I felt like Naruto would have went into like this deep depression next to Sakura, but Sakura would have had it the worst because Sakura probably would have either left the village or just not. She probably never would have been talking to Naruto ever again. Like she just would have been in some serious deep depression. Like they'd be like, "Yo, Sakura, you good?" Nothing. She would have been all types of fucked up if Sasuke would have died. Cause you seen how she was even before when Sasuke was like in a dark place. He was intending to kill her, and she still wanted to stay with this dude. And I said, "How the fuck? How you still want to stay with this man after everything?" But you know only person that would have brought Naruto back to like the way of his senses would have been Hinata, but but Naruto still would have been like off because he would have been like, my best friend is dead and I don't know what to do. And he's like, he doesn't have that person that would challenge his authority and that person that really gets to him, because it's like when you see Naruto and Sasuke, both of them had like not similar childhoods because obviously it was completely different, but it's like they kind of had that bond with each other. They kind of had like that brotherly bond with each other because it was like they trained together, they fought together and whatnot. So it would have been really emotional for Naruto and whatnot. Like he would have not functioned very well as a ninja. Like it probably would have caused him to step down to being Hokage, because he would have been like, "I can't do this. Like I just can't, because it's like he's not there. I don't have Sasuke there. I don't have like my brother there," because it's like Naruto see Sasuke as his family. He basically sees him as his family, so it's like he's torn apart deeply. He is torn apart deeply of what he had to do and whatnot, because it's like he didn't have a choice at the moment, and he had no choice but to kill him. He would have had. I probably would have said Boruto. It probably would have been Boruto. No, not even Boruto. Probably Oh yeah, he probably would have named his son still Boruto and whatnot, but he probably would have even named Eve either Boruto or his daughter. Like he probably would have gave them like maybe a Uchiha name, even though they're not Uchiha. But he probably would have named them something because it's like when a person who dies, like they always do this. Like if a person of a family member who dies, and if you was to have like a kid or whatever, most likely sometimes they will always name like their son or their daughter after the person who died because of how they remember them, and they always want to be remembered by that person's name. So Naruto probably would have named him, or maybe if not would have named him or whatnot. But he would have been in under some really serious deep depression. To Hinata probably would have been like, yo, you need to cut this shit out. You need to cut this shit out. Like I'm here, and he would have been like, yeah, you here, all right, but it's just Sasuke's not here. Like he would have been seriously type messed up, and then he would have been thinking about everything because how the fight would have ended. It would have ended where probably the same but different. Where Naruto actually no. It would have ended just like how when they was kids, how when they clashed it and how Sasuke pierced him just a little bit. It would have been different where Naruto would have pierced Sasuke and he would have killed them right there, but Sasuke still would have had enough energy just to talk and would have been like, telling him like a bunch of stuff like how if things could have been different and whatnot. And the theory of that theory would have been how they would have survived and all that stuff that we see now. That would have been the theory. But this theory is basically how he would have told Naruto how he sees him as a brother. Like I said, like he sees him as a brother. He basically feels bad and he wished things could have been different and whatnot. Naruto would have been crying and whatnot. He still would have had his hands. He's like none of his parts would have been missing. He still would have had his hands, but he just would have been crying, very deeply messed up. He would have been like, yo, like I can't. Then Kakashi and that Sakura definitely would have been in distraught. He definitely would have been distraught. He probably would have said maybe a few words to her and whatnot, but that would have been it. And then it probably would have been like Naruto would have made like some sort of speech or whatever, or some sort of burial ground, like the greatest Uchiha who have ever lived, and it would have been like Sasuke Uchiha because he basically helped out in the war and whatnot too. And if it wasn't obviously for him and Sasuke, basically, Kagaya still would have been running around and whatnot. But they would have made like some sort of monument for him, and then Naruto would have been all types of messed up. He would have been as messed up as how when Jiraiya died, but probably just a tad bit more because it's like, come on, the person that got you the most, and he's dead, and it's just like he's all types of messed up. He would have been in some sort of like really deep, very deep depression and stuff. Kurama probably like, yo, you gotta get your gears together. He would have been in some sort of like very deep depression where he couldn't break out of it. Like Boruto would have been like, yo, Dad, you okay? You alright? You would have never seen him. That's when he would have been basically visiting Sasuke's grave every day. Every day, just like talking to him, visiting him. He would have been seen every single day. They would have been like, yo, where's Naruto? Naruto would have been making like little shadow clones and just sneaking off and just going over to the grave every day. Oh, and I forgot one more person, Karin. She would have been there too. She would have been there too. She would have been probably infuriated and enraged off of Naruto as well. Like, you killed him. Like, how dare you and stuff. And he would have been like, she would have told him off like, there could have been a better way. You said that you wanted to save him, but you didn't save him. You killed him instead of saving him. This is your fault that he's dead. He would have been like, yo, I can't, like, you telling me this, I know, I just couldn't, I tried and stuff. And then he would have felt that being Hokage, he couldn't really be Hokage until eventually he probably would have stepped down. Like, he would have been Hokage for a few years until he would have stepped down, because he would have been like, what's being Hokage if you can't even save one friend? And he would have been like, I can't do this, I just can't. Everybody would have been trying to convince him just still dish it out, but he just couldn't. Like, he'd just be sitting there visiting his grave every day, and all types of messed up, because it's like he never really had a grave to see, to visit, because it's like Jiraiya basically went under the water. Minato and Kushina, I don't know if they had a grave. They probably did. I don't know if they had a grave though. I think they did, like, have a grave. No, I don't know. I think so. I'm not too sure. I think they did have like a grave, but now Naruto probably would have probably knows the grave. But for Sasuke, yeah, he be visiting this dude's grave like every single day, because it's like, he's basically emotionally destroyed. Basically emotionally destroyed. But he would have eventually had gotten his gears back together after, when everybody else would have showed up, like Momoshiki, Kenshiki. He would have gotten his gears back together, and he would have been like, Sasuke wouldn't have wanted me to do this, and he would eventually would have gotten back on top. But Naruto would have been in serious depression for years. Sakura probably would have killed herself. But she would have been in the same boat. She would have been in some sort of like deep depression. She probably wouldn't have had like any like connections to like the outside world. Like, she probably would have been in the house just chilling. Came outside like once in a while. Everybody would be like, "Yo, Sakura, is she good?" They're like, She has not. She's just been all types of messed up. Everybody having kids and whatnot. Almost how in that Menma world where everybody was happy except her, but it would have been different. She and Naruto wouldn't have not been happy. Naruto would have had kids, but he still would have been under depression. Not even Boruto and his daughter or Hinata would have. Because not knowing if Sasuke would have been alive, yeah, but if he would have died, then no, he would have been under some serious depression. Some very serious depression, and pretty much that's how that would have been. But yeah, if you like what you heard and you heard what you like, please subscribe, share, do all of that wonderful stuff. I'll catch you later.